What's up, everybody? This is Johnny Basement, and we're back here in the basement for yet again, diving further and further and further and further and further down the rabbit hole called the AFL and footy, which, by the way, starts on March 16th, just 2 months away. That's it. My first footy season coming up, and I'm excited. As I've said all the way through, I have 5 teams. 5 teams. I've narrowed this down to 5. And when I pick a team, I'm fully committed to them, and I cannot wait to pick that team. I cannot wait. I got a good idea, but it's down to 5 teams. I'm going in hard on all 5 teams. Again, I'm going to do a video on the breakdown, but it's going to be when I got 3 teams left. Maybe even two. I'll do a breakdown on those teams as to which one I'm interested and why I'm not interested in them. So I'm doing a lot of homework, trust me. And doing that homework brings us to this. The history of the AFL. The only game, at least as far as I know, that I've seen, the only game that was actually invented and played in Australia at the time it was invented. It was the only Australian sport invented. Before we dive into this, please subscribe, bell notice, like button. Keep this basement rolling toward 5,000 subs. It's a short-term goal. 10,000 subs and beyond is definitely where we're going as we're evolving further and further in the basement. So let's get into this right now. This is the history of the AFL. It started in 1858. You guys know I take my notes. Started in 1858 by a group of guys. William Hammersley, Tom Smith, James Thompson, Tom Wills. Get back to him in a minute. And Jerry Bryant. Tom Wills actually came up with this idea to create this game. He wanted to create this game to keep the guys that play cricket strengthened in the wintertime. There's something for them to do. He wanted the cricket guys to stay in shape. So they had to come up with a game that would help them stay that way. So this is kind of how it started in 1858. This is how it came along. So these guys got together in Jerry Bryant's hotel room and wanted to sit down and put a bunch of rules together so this game could actually get off the ground and get going. We're going to get into those rules. We're going to get into them in a minute. But a little background first. They founded those 10 rules on May 17th, 1859. 1859, it's a long time ago. Now, I'm going to read those 10 rules, and I want to know, well, my big curiosity is, how many of these rules still apply today? Have they added any on? Have they taken any away? That's the actual rules written right there that you see on the screen. These are the actual rules. I will scroll up as I read the rules. I think part of me is in front of part of them if you look further down below. Don't worry, I'll straighten that out. But these are the actual handwritten pages of these rules. That is fire. That's cool. Like, they have all this. Amazing. And it's written in script, in cursive. They don't even teach that in school anymore, as I understand. They don't even teach how to write cursive anymore. That's a whole different talk show for a whole different another day. Just saying. Now, if you want to get started, Melbourne and Geelong. Now, also, guys, by the way, I've come a long way since calling it Geelong. But is it Geelong, like J-I? I know it's not starting with a J. I'm just for pronunciation. Is it like Geelong, like J-I long, like Geelong? Or is it Geelong, like J-A long, like Geelong? Pronunciation, I know it doesn't start with a J. I know it starts with a G. I'm just saying for pronunciation. Give me a break here. Just give me a break and tell me Geelong or Geelong. I need to know. Anyway, those teams started in 1858 and 1859 respectively. They are the oldest clubs among sports, not just AFL, but among sports in general. They're two of the oldest clubs in sports, period. That is a hell of a statement. Long time these two teams have been around. Then, 1877, the VAFA came around. The Victorian Football Association came around, along with the South Australian Football Association. Both had 8 teams apiece, 8-team leagues apiece. So now it's really starting to build, and it wasn't really that much longer. You're talking about maybe 19 years later, this is where it's really starting to develop and really starting to evolve. That's incredible. That is incredible. As you see the birthing of sport and starting to become huge. Now I see what a passion you guys have for your game. It's Australian invented. You gotta love the game. So that came around in 1877. The first inter-colony game between the two sports, the first one was played by the end of the 1870s. So almost immediately, they had already inter-league matches. Crazy. In 1896, the VFA clubs, Geelong, Essendon, Collingwood, Fitzroy, Melbourne, and South Melbourne formed the VFL, which we know is the Victorian Football League. We know that. I even knew that from past studying on the sport. Victorian Football League. St. Kilda and Carlton came around in 1897 to add on to those clubs that were already there, so it's expanding even more. Even more. Guys, I love all the history of our sports that I'm into. I had to dive into some of this, so I'm trying to make this as exciting as possible. I don't know how long you're going to stick around, but come on, man. This is your game, and I love it. I'm taking the time to look all this stuff up because it's interesting to me. I wasn't even going to do a video on this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a video because you guys always bring me back great comments, educational comments, things that I should look for, other angles. So I never want to read these things by myself and just study it by myself because the comments you guys give me are so helpful. So helpful, guys, that I truly appreciate. I don't respond to all of them, but I read them all. It takes some time to respond to all of them. I'm getting better at that, though. I promise you guys, man. I really appreciate the support. So instead of me just doing this by myself, I figured let's put it out there and see what other comments I can get back. So anyway, that was 1896. We're going to fast forward to 1982, where South Melbourne became the Sydney Swans. I learned something there. I heard of the Sydney Swans. Well, they were originally a South Melbourne team. Who knew? I didn't know that. Did you? Maybe you guys knew. I didn't know that. Anyway, in 1987, it expanded into 14 teams, including the West Coast Eagles and the Brisbane Bears. Now, here's my question. Is the Brisbane Bears, did they become the Brisbane Lions? They had to have, right? The Brisbane Bears, they came around 1987. Are they now the Brisbane Lions? Is that what they changed their name to? Just a quick question. Then 1990, of course, they became the AFL as we know and love today, the AFL, after leaving the VFL. So now we're going to get into these rules, and this is my question for you guys. Do these rules apply today? I'm going to see if I know some of them because I haven't looked at the rules yet. I haven't looked at them. This is where I stopped and said I'm going to do a video on this, and let's do this together. So I'm going to read through these 10 rules, 10 original rules that these were guys set up in 1858. Crazy. Let's check them out. Okay, rule number 1, the distance between the goals and the goal post shall be decided upon the captains of the sides playing. The distance between the goal and the goal posts shall be decided upon the captains of the sides playing. So the actual goal and the goal post, so you have the behinds and you have the main goal for 6 points. I don't know the actual term for the main goal, but I know these are the behinds. They both get 1 point, and the other one gets 6 points, right? So, the distance between the goals and the goal post shall be decided by the captains of sides playing. What does that actually mean? Because I'm a little lost on that, because I would think it would be a standard sides for both sides, no? I would think they would be. I don't know. Maybe that's how it was back then. Let's move along. Help me out on that first one. Number 2. The captains on each side shall toss for choice of goal. The side losing the toss has to kick off from the center point between the goals. The captains on each side shall toss for choice of goal. The side losing the toss has to kick off from the center point between the two goals. That makes sense. I understand that. 3. A goal must be kicked fairly between the posts without touching either of them, or a portion of the person of any player on either side. So it has to be a clean kick. That's understandable. It's got to be a clean kick through so you can get the, I love that, the 2 points, 6 points, excuse me, the 6 points for the 2 fingers, 1 for the behinds. Got it. Moving along. I understand that. That's still got to be applied today from the game replays that I watch. That would seem to be what would still apply today. Number 4, the game shall be played within a space of not more than 200 yards wide. Is that still the case today? I don't know the dimensions of the field. So is that still the case today, that it's still 200 yards wide? Let me know on that. The same to be measured equally on each side of a line drawn through the centers of the 2 goals. That seems to be the same today. And the 2 posts to be called kickoff posts shall be erected at a distance of 30 yards on each side of the goal posts at both ends and in a straight line with them. It's a lot to unpack there. 2 posts to be called the kickoff posts. Is that what they're called? I haven't heard that term, so maybe that is the case. Shall be erected at a distance of 30 yards on each side of the goal posts at both ends. So that's got to mean that the middle posts there, the kickoff post, like the middle post there, and then the behinds. So from this behind, right? So from the far side of this behind and then the far side of the other behind, that distance has to be 30 yards. Is that still the same today? Is the distance from the pole all the way left to the pole all the way right? One behind all the way to the other behind. That's 30 yards apart? That's how I'm reading this. Is that still the same today? From looking at it, that would seem like it's 30 yards apart. So, pretty good. Number 5, in the case the ball is kicked behind any goal, any one of the side behind whose goal it is kicked may bring it 20 yards in from any portion of the space between the kickoff posts and shall kick it as nearly as possible in a line with the opposite goal. What? What? First of all, someone please break down in the comments, what are they still called, the kickoff posts? So when they say, all right, look, in case the ball is kicked behind the goal. So it's got to be like if you're running in near the behind posts and they kicked it like behind the goal, it didn't go through any of them, it actually went behind. Any one of the side behind whose goal it is kicked may bring it 20 yards in, okay, from any portion of the space between the kickoff posts and shall kick it as nearly as possible in a line with the opposite goal. Okay, I'm going to go back to what I said before. What? SOS, help on number 5. Help on number 5. I understand that the kick is kicked behind the goal. I get that. The rest of it I don't. Please, someone break number 5 down for me. Moving along. Number 6. Any player catching the ball directly from the foot may call a mark. Yes, I know that one. Marks are catches. He then has a free kick. I get that too. No player from the opposite side being allowed to come inside the spot marked. Yeah, we know. When he does a great mark, that went a little worse than I anticipated. Anyway, my favorite marks are off speckies. But when he makes the mark, he's allowed the free kicks. I know that. No one's allowed to come in. So you just boom, just kick it. So I get that. I get that one. I'm all in on rule number 6. All in. And I know that applies today because I know that one exactly. I like it. Number 7. Tripping and pushing are both allowed, but no hacking when any player is in rapid motion or in possession of the ball. So except in the case provided for in Rule 4. Don't kick me back to a rule that I don't understand. Wait a minute. Tripping and pushing are both allowed. Is that really still allowed today? Are you allowed to trip somebody? Are you just allowed to flat out trip somebody? Pushing? What defines pushing? Like going to tackle somebody when they have the ball? That's kind of like a vague thing you're allowed to push and a little vague on the tripping. Like, is that still allowed? No hacking. I understand what hacking is. When any player is in rapid motion, except in the case provided in Rule 4. I'm scared to go back and even look at what the hell that would be. What's the case in Rule 4? Oh, the kickoff posts again. Oh, no. I understand the rule. When any player is in rapid motion or possession of the ball, except in the case of Rule 4. Rule 6. Rule 6. Okay, good. I got my Roman numerals wrong. You know why I got that wrong? Because we're in the basement. That's why I got it wrong. It doesn't get any lower than the basement. I'm looking at Rule 4. I got to get down. Maybe I should do a class on Roman numerals because I sure as hell read that one wrong. Back in Rule. How about we try case provided in Rule 6, not Rule 4. Any player catching the ball. Okay, so as long as in possession of the ball, as long as it's not a free kick. Why can't they just say that instead of me screwing up the Roman numerals? Just say, except in the case of a free kick. Not refer me to another rule and I don't even know what the Roman numeral is anymore. Man, you can't make this stuff up, right? Just say that. Just say it. Rule 8. The ball may be taken in hand only when caught from the foot. Right. Wait. The ball may be taken in hand only when caught from the foot or on the hop. In no case shall it be lifted from the ground. That's got to be different now. That's definitely got to be different because you can hand pass now. Right? You can handball, hand pass. You can do that now. So the ball may be taken in hand only when caught from the foot. Well, that's not the case anymore. Or on the hop. Right, on the hop, I get that too. In no case shall it be lifted from the ground. It's lifted from the ground all the time. Right? Ball, guy goes through a mark, gets hit, drops the ball, knocks down. Guys run around, pick up the ball. They do it all the time. They hand pass. Right? So that rule can't be, that rule's been expanded a little bit. Because you can catch it now. Through all my stuff I've watched, I'm pretty confident on this one. You can catch it from a hand pass now too. And you can lift it up from the ground. Sure you can. I see that in replays all the time. So I think that rule's been expanded a little bit. Number 9. When the ball goes out of bounds, the same being indicated by a row of posts, it shall be brought back to the point where it crossed the boundary line and thrown in. Yeah, I get that. I've seen that a million times. Okay. Number 10, the last one, the ball, while in play, may under no circumstances be thrown. That still applies today. I know that. You cannot take the ball and just pass it to somebody, flip it to somebody. Can't do any of that. It has to be a hand pass. And it has to be or off the foot. That I do know. And if it goes, over 15 meters, is it? That's when the mark is a free kick, as long as it's a clean mark. That I get. Nothing in here about speckies. There has to be nothing in here about speckies. So that may be going back to another time, like later on, that they made that rule, or that was never a rule that you couldn't climb on someone's back. That is the greatest move, my favorite move that drew me into the AFL is the specky. Right? They take their knees and they jump and they put them on top of the guy like this. I can't do it because I will bust my head. Maybe that would be hilarious, right? But I mean, that's what they do. They jump up and they just fall on the back of somebody. Right on the back of somebody, catch that ball. I've seen him come in and knee somebody right in the head, right in the back of the head. That can't still be legal. But I'm just saying what I've seen. Guys, this game has got me so wrapped up in, I'm so wrapped up in this game that I have to know the history. How did this game get started? And I know that this is just a small piece on the history. But this is what I get to do, guys, in the morning. This is what I do when I get up. I start reading into the thing that's grabbing me the most, and this has been grabbing me. The AFL has grabbed me. I'm hooked. Now I just can't wait for the season. We'll have so much more to talk about during the season. And the games and the matchups and the rounds and all of it. The ladders, everything. I can't wait. Right down to the Premiership Cup and the Grand Final. I'm so excited. We're only 2 months away now, guys. Only 2 months away. Please drop some comments down below. Please let me know what you think of the video and the idea of even bringing this on here, because I was just reading this morning. I'm like, let me get some help on some of these things. Because even rereading it, I just don't get it. So rereading a lot of these with you guys as we were going through here just now, I don't get it. I had to reread 3 of them and I still don't understand them. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know. Give me some ideas of what you think team-wise. Promote your team to me. Promote your team. All right? Check out my next AFL video. It's going to be coming soon. Please, I'm on Twitter, Johnny Basement, IG, Johnny Basement. Go to Discord, I'm on there. My community posts, I always put the Discord link in there. You guys can join in with the other cellar dwellers. Hang out in the Discord, my live streams. I'm live streaming games like every day. Appreciate all the support as always, and I'm looking forward to my first footy season coming up. I'm Johnny Basement. Please subscribe, bell notice, like button, comments as always, and I'll see you on the next vid. I am out.